Being head of the local book club in Port Galia is something that I consider as both a blessing and a curse. A blessing, well, because of my passion for all things literature, but a curse because of the, shall I say, small disagreements that pop up on the occasion that the ladies must choose a new book to read together. You see, with each one having their own strong opinion, it can become almost political when a title must be chosen, and I dread the meeting when that decision must be made. I can distinctly recall one occasion in August, when I was chairing one of these dreaded meetings. We were having it outside in the churchyard as the weather was most pleasant, but I can assure you the meeting was not. The options had been eventually narrowed down to two, one being Anne of Green Gables and the other Little Women. But no one could seem to agree on just one. I can still recall the conversation escalating, and Mrs. Cole beginning to start ranting about why Gilbert and Anne were a much better romance than Jo and Laurie, and I slunk back in my lawn chair as I was forced to listen.
"Now, ladies,"
she stated, standing up like she was delivering an address.
"it seems patently obvious to me why Anne of Green Gables should be the choice. Anne and Gilbert make such a more thrilling couple. After all, I've read the book quite a number of times before, and I can tell you it's a very compelling love story. It never gets boring, and it's quite amusing too. But I won't spoil it for you. You'll want to find out what happens for yourselves."
"No one said we were reading it, Patsy,"
Donna said, both sternly and diplomatically all at once.
"Don't put the cart before the horse. It's still very much in the balance."
"Yes, and besides,"
Primrose added, picking up a jammy bun and indulging herself in it,
"I'm sure Little Women is far more interesting than that children's book."
"Children's book?"
Patsy blustered loudly, causing Primrose to drop her bun.
"It's not a children's book, Primrose. I'll have you know that—"
"Ladies, please," I implored desperately. "We are just choosing a book to read together. We're not having an election. Now let's sort this out like sensible, civilised women and just choose one."
"I completely agree, Helen,"
Barbara James, the local postmistress, said from the end of the table.
"I propose we take it to a vote. What do you think, Betty?"
"I think that's a wonderful idea. What do you think, Helen? You're the head of the book club."
Well, I must admit, this did not seem like such a wonderful idea to me. Not only did I think it was utterly preposterous that a group of decent women needed to vote on choosing a book to read, and we couldn't just come to a peaceful agreement on our own, but I could see that this was going to cause even more contention between the ladies, as the group would plainly be divided. But despite this, I honestly couldn't see any other way, and so reluctantly I agreed. All right, ladies, we'll go to a vote. I must admit, it does seem most unnecessary. Does anyone have any paper with them?
I do, Helen. I always bring a notebook with me. You never know when you might need it.
Good. Now use 6 sheets, please, Betty. If you don't mind, of course.
No, that's all right. Here you are. Do you need a pen?
That would certainly be helpful, thank you. Now I'm going to give everyone a sheet of paper and I'm going to pass this pen around and I want you to write A if you want Anne of Green Gables, or L for Little Women. Then fold your piece of paper and put it in this dish to keep things anonymous. Well, as anonymous as they can be anyway. Then I will unfold the votes one by one and find out which one has the most votes. And whichever one it is will be the one we read. No quarrelling on either side. Agreed?
Sounds fair to me.
I agree. Let's go for the vote.
Oh, but what about Janet? She would have stopped us from coming out with even votes. But she's in London visiting her mother. What do we do if we tie up?
Well, let's just hope that we don't. Now, I'll start. Well, after I'd written a large A on my sheet of paper, discreetly of course, so that no one was to see, I passed the pen on to Primrose, and Primrose passed it to Betty, and then Betty passed it to Donna, and Donna passed it to Barbara, and finally Barbara passed it to Patsy. Everyone remained poker-faced as they put their folded-up pieces of paper in the dish. I picked it up and shook it about, as to remove any inclination of whose was whose. Then, slowly and methodically, I took a piece out one at a time. The first was a big A and the second was an A also, but the third and the fourth were both L's. Everyone watched with eagerness and anticipation as I pulled open the last 2 scrunched up pieces of paper. One revealed an A and the other an L. Well, annoyingly, that left us at a tie, like Barbara had foretold, and I could sense the tension as the decision was once again left in the balance.
Well, that was pointless.
Primrose stated flatly, finishing her bun and wiping her mouth.
We're no better off than when we began.
Well, it looks like Anne of Green Gables it is then.
Hold on, Patsy. You can't just say we're reading the one you want to read because we've reached a 2-way tie. We need someone else to put in a vote to tip the scales one way or the other.
Yes, that would be ideal, Donna, but we don't have anyone to do that, do we?
Do what, Mrs. Doris?
A voice spoke from behind us, making us all jump.
Can I help with anything?
Lester, when did you get here? I asked, looking at the tall young man who had popped himself up from behind the church wall. Don't you know it's rude to listen in on other people's conversations?
I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't snoop, but I was riding past on my bike to deliver some sausages when I heard you all quarrelling. Do forgive me, but from what I've heard, it sounds as if you're in quite a predicament, and, I wondered if I could help at all.
We appreciate the thought, Lester, but really there's nothing you can do.
Actually, Patsy, Lester might be able to help us.
You're not going to ask Lester to make the final vote, are you, Helen? I mean, it is against the rules of the club to involve anyone else in the voting.
Yes, and besides, I know Lester. He probably wouldn't even know what Anne of Green Gables is, let alone Little Women.
My auntie is right, Mrs. Doris. I'm more partial to Robinson Crusoe myself.
I'm not talking about you voting, Lester. I'm talking about Janet Davies.
But I already told you she's away in London, Helen.
Exactly. Lester can call Janet and she can vote over the phone. Does that sound fair to you all?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I concur. After all, she is a member of the book club.
Then it's settled. Here's the money for the phone, Lester. You go and call Mrs. Davies and come back and tell us whether she wants Little Women or Anne of Green Gables.
Anne of Green what?
Green Gables, Lester. Can you remember that?
I'll try. Anne of Green Gables and Tiny Women.
It's Little Women, not Tiny Women, Lester. Make sure you get that right, OK?
Gosh, this book-choosing business is complicated. I'm sure glad I'm part of the shooting club and not the book club. We just go and shoot what we want. Right, see you in a moment.
Hold on, you'll need her hotel and room number.
I can't remember all this.
All right, I'll write it down for you. Just a moment. Here, there you are. Call the operator and ask for that, okay?
All right then. See you in a tick.
Well, Lester was gone a good long while before we heard his bicycle bell ringing and his wheels whirling back up the church path again. Everyone had been most impatient waiting for him, and nearly all the jammy buns had been polished off along with the tea. When he arrived, the ladies leapt up on their feet and sped across to him, as if he had the results for the lottery.
What did she say, Lester? What did she say?
Yes, do tell us the results, Lester. We're all itching to know. You took a jolly long time.
Yes, sorry about that. I got stopped by Uncle Rodney along the way asking about some steaks he ordered, and boy did he complain. Apparently they had far too much fat and nowhere near enough meat, and I tried to explain about how different cuts have different marbling, but he didn't understand very much, being a fisherman at all, and...
Just tell us the results, Lester, will you? You can be a chatterbox sometimes.
Right, yes, I couldn't reach her.
Why ever not?
You didn't let me finish, Mrs. Fenchurch. At first I couldn't reach her. You see, the clerk at the hotel told me that she was out shopping. But whilst I was speaking to him, she walked into reception and he called her across and gave her the phone. And after I had explained to her what was happening, she gave me her vote.
And?
Well, she told me she hadn't heard of either of them, so she just picked one at random.
Really? I would have thought that someone as distinguished as Mrs. Davies surely know those famous stories. Are you sure you didn't get them muddled up again, Lester, and give her the wrong names?
Oh, I don't think so. It was Little Anne Green and Women of the Gables, wasn't it?
Women of the Gables.
Little Anne Green?
Oh, I didn't get them confused, did I?
Oh dear, Lester. It appears you most certainly have got them muddled. You'll have to go back and call her.
I can't. I don't have any more money.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Take this and go and call her again. This is positively ridiculous.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm not used to being a carrier pigeon.
Don't worry. Look, I'll write the names down for you to avoid any confusion, okay?
Ah, good idea. We probably should have done that in the first place with my scatterbrain. I'll be back in a minute.
Please hurry. I don't know how long these ladies can hold on for.
I'll pedal for England, Mrs. Doris. I'll be back before you can say Little Anne Green.
Well, I must applaud the lad. He was incredibly quick. He flew down the path on his purple bicycle, rounded the corner like the clappers, and within 5 minutes was rolling back towards the church. And once again the women darted from the table and gathered around the poor young man like a flurry of chickens.
Well, what is it?
Mrs. Fenchurch asked excitedly.
Oh, don't make us wait any longer. It's Anne of Green Gables, isn't it?
Well, no, not really. I mean, it is, but it's not.
You're not making a lot of sense, Lester. You didn't get confused again, did you?
No, you see, she likes both books very much, and so she suggested that you pick one to read now and then the other to read after. That way everyone gets what they want and it resolves any conflict.
Well, I think that's a very sensible idea indeed. Don't you, ladies?
Yes, I do. And from such a unlikely source as well. Is everyone agreed with that decision then?
Yes. All right then. That sounds fair.
Yes, I can go with that.
Me too.
I agree.
Then that's settled. Finally we have this sorted like good, sensible, upstanding ladies.
I just have one last question, Helen.
Yes, Primrose.
Which one do we read first?
Well, I will not bore you with what happened after that question was posed, but I can tell you that by some miracle, Anne of Green Gables was eventually decided to be the first book that was chosen to be read. I can also tell you that once Little Women was read, I made the executive decision that everyone would take it in turns to choose which book was to be read, so as to avoid any more mishaps with Women of the Gables or Little Anne Green.
In this episode of Port Galia, we saw the ladies of the book club having an argument over which book was going to be chosen. And if it wasn't for Lester showing up on his bicycle and ringing Mrs. Davies, who knows how long the feud could have proceeded. The Bible warns us of getting involved in such quarrels in 2 Timothy 2:23, where it says to avoid getting into foolish and ignorant disputes, because they generate strife. And strife is never a good thing. So, next time you have a disagreement over something, don't get into a pointless argument over it, but instead work things out with peace and wisdom, because you'll keep yourself from a lot of confusion.